Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mack Flash 5 Muppet Special Part 2, where we will be continuing our conversation about the Muppet movies. In Part 1, we ranked the films from 11 to 1, and in this episode, we will be talking about our top 5 favorite Muppets and our top 5 favorite songs from the movies. Let's get back to the conversation. And with that, we're going to move on to our top 5 Muppets.
Which I believe, if I'm not wrong, sort of is what's spurned like this whole thing, started it all. We started talking about Muppets, and then we went, let's do this and this and this.
Yep. Yeah, the first time we did it was just through our little phone text chat thing. And I think Mike said, okay, we'll do our top 5 and our bottom 5. And then we got on a video conference later and we did our list. And then after that, I was like, we should rank the movie. I mean, I just on a whim was like, okay, we've done that. Now let's rank the movies. And Mike was like, okay, but first let's watch them all. Yeah. And so we can get a
and then everyone kind of went, okay.
And then the discussion became, okay, so what counts?
Yeah.
Are we counting Swamp Years and those things? And then
we did.
Yeah, it came down to runtime being over 80 minutes. So
I could have lived with a top 10.
I am here for Scott's top 5 Muppets. That's all I'm here for.
I want to get through these.
How are we doing
I'm really
this?
excited about this.
Okay, 5 to 1, right?
Let's
doing
do
5.
Yeah, everybody's 5, everybody's 4. Yeah.
We're all excited to hear Scott's list, so let's get him last. So, Sean, I want to hear your number 5 favorite Muppet.
Yeah. Okay. Now, it wasn't made clear to me whether I can bring the whole band as one. The Electric Mayhem.
The rules
That's
are yours.
my problem too.
The rules are you just say it and explain it. It's all right.
Because if you go with that whole band, and that whole band brings its own sound, its own energy. They rewrite songs and make the soundtrack. I would buy albums of songs that are covers just by that band.
Yes.
For that really unique sound, just like Richard Cheese really does. Swooner hits that are complete Swooner style, but he takes these pop hits and does that. I want a group to Muppetize pop hits,
Muppetize
songs, and these cultural icons of music and put them into Muppet sound. I want to hear sax. I want to hear that Hammond organ. I need to hear that drum solo. Put it in. They are my number 5.
So the Electric Mayhem, is that correct? Is your number 5? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, if I had known that, they would have made my list for sure, because I really have a problem splitting them up. They did a really good cover of Kodachrome, the Paul Simon song. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. It is really good. My number 5 is the Swedish Chef.
Ooh, nice.
He's a character voiced by Jim Henson. He does the mouth. And in the early days was Frank Oz's hands, because he's one of the only Muppets that has physical skin hands.
Which is off-putting, man.
Yeah, it is. The run of the TV show and then the first couple of movies that Jim Henson was live, it was done that way. And it still is. But their chemistry is amazing, because Jim would say one thing, Frank would do another, like throwing the spoons in the air. Jim would not always know where they would land.
Kind of fun.
So he's always cracking up at that stuff, and it's stuff like that. The chemistry between certain puppeteers teamed up and created really is some of the best stuff, especially in the old TV show. You can always tell where it's Jim and Frank, and then it's Richard and Jerry. Dave Goles will swing between everybody else. But those are the the original 5 Muppeteers, and the 2 best ones create the Swedish Chef. His mock Swedish is amazing, and he could have his own. I would like to have him have his own cooking show.
Okay,
it would be ridiculous.
I didn't really like it,
but I would love to see it.
Point of contention here. I love the Swedish Chef. Love the Swedish Chef, but he is, and I think you even would admit this later if he did have a show. He's good in small doses. Yeah. Because he does have
a whole segment on
there's a new show called Muppets Now, and he has a little segment on each episode, and it just gets old. Yeah. But I love him as a character. His flaw is that because you can't understand what he's saying, and he really is always only doing the same thing, you can't put him in every skit and around all the time because he can't do much.
That's fair.
Right.
But he is awesome. I'm not taking away from it, but he's got limited abilities of,
And he always gets his point across. The best Swedish Chef moment is in A Muppet Family Christmas when Big Bird walks in and the Swedish Chef is ready to cook him. That's going to be the Christmas turkey he wants to cook.
Does he have in these movies though? In these one movies, could you? I don't know if Scott could you pull a Swedish Chef moment?
I was just gonna ask it. I'm like, does he do anything in these movies?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
He shows up, but
in the first one, he's running the film projector.
Yes.
In the Great Muppet Caper, he's in the Happiness Hotel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Muppet Take Manhattan, he works in the movie theater. He's got the popcorn.
Yeah.
3D. He's throwing popcorn.
It does kind of prove the point, right? They have to make
utilized well.
They have to make him background and secondary because he can't talk.
Cameo.
Yeah, he's a cameo.
He does make it. Yes. Cameos exactly.
But that's okay.
That's
okay.
All right, Mike, what you got? 5.
All right, let me just share up here. All right, what do we got? All right, so the number 5 drum roll. No, don't give me a drum roll. My number 5. Now I know this is going to be a happy moment and maybe a sad moment for Scott in that he makes my list, but he's number 5. Rizzo the Rat, number 5. I don't think I even need to say much because we talked a little bit about him as far as he drives the storyline a lot in Muppets from Space. But Rizzo has just always been just slapstick. Like he's been a comic relief. He comes in, he says a little something, and he's out. He was the Pepe. Like Pepe's kind of taken that on, I think. Yeah. But he was especially in the older. What's that?
Course correct.
Yeah. He would,
I get that.
he would come out, say something, right? Or just like drop that line and you'd pick it up or you wouldn't, right? And I just like that about him because he's sort of like, I don't know what the word, he's not sleazy, but he's kind of, you know what I mean? He's a rat, you know what I mean? I guess that's right? You know what I mean? Like, can I really trust him? Is he out for everyone's best interest or himself? You know what I mean?
Well, when it kind of comes to food, right? If the food is involved, he's out for himself.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So for me, Rizzo, and in the films, he does have large
roles,
right? But I just like his delivery, right? And was he who voiced
Whitmire? Steve
Whitmire, before he took over for as Kermit, right?
Even then he was both of them.
At first, not when Henson was doing Kermit though.
When Henson was around, he was Rizzo in the Great Muppet Caper and Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, there's always something about that. Some of the original voices doing the things, but what about you, Andrew? What you got?
All right, mine number 5 has already been talked about, and it is the Swedish Chef.
Oh!
And so again, like Matt said, is more from the show. Anytime his segments came on, I was laughing hysterically the entire time as a kid, and I just loved him. And just his, like you said, his mannerisms, his goofy voice, and his amazing mustache. So that's all. I don't need to talk a whole lot about it because we were talking about him. But
I don't have pictures, but I'm thankful you have one for that, because if you look at in that one again, in later years, whoever performs his hand is married. So the Swedish Chef, I think, is the only Muppet to, be betrothed.
That's funny.
What an oversight, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that they really.
Well, he could have got married. He could have got married.
He could have. We just haven't met her yet.
We've seen a couple weddings. We've seen a couple weddings.
Chef.
Why didn't we see his wedding then? I want to see that.
He could have been his own caterer. One of the highlights of one of the Comic Cons we went to was seeing a dude cosplaying as the Swedish Chef, and it was so perfect.
That's his thing.
Yeah, that was his thing, because I think we've seen him a couple times.
A few times, yeah.
But oh man, like it's brilliant.
Eyebrows, it covers his eyes, you can see through it. It's brilliant.
Anyway, number 5, Scott.
Okay.
Here we go.
So my number 5, I'm very excited about, especially this guy. I had a 5. This guy wasn't on it. I took Pepe off. Honorable mention to him. But I'm going to give you here my number 5 on my top Muppets list. Might surprise some of you guys, but I'm going to go with Solo Animal himself.
Okay. Yeah,
that's my number 5.
Yeah.
What I will say is,
we may talk about him later.
And I'm sure we will. And what I'll say about Animal alone, separate from the band, I like Animal by himself. He's great. He's a scene stealer. He's a ball of energy. He is so fun. Dr. Teeth, beat it. You're a scumbag. The other girl, terrible to look at. She's hideous. But give me Animal. They give Animal a great story in the 2011 Muppets movie where he's like in anger management and rehab. And it's like kind of a conduit for like a drug addiction with like drumming. And then at the end, when they really need him at the fundraiser, they give him his sticks and then he plays the drums. I'm like, this is really funny stuff. This is really, really, really good. So I don't even care about the whole band. This man is a solo act, and I hope he does well on his own. But my number 5 is Animal.
Well, he is very much not like he's in the band, but he's one of like when you think of Animal, you don't really think of him as being a band member. He's his own Muppet that happens to be in the band.
He appears apart from the band a lot.
Good. Yeah, no doubt. So
he's
Animal.
Like
Slash.
Yeah. He's the Edge.
You could always look up like Animal stuff on YouTube because his segments from the Muppet Show must be on there. He has like a drum off, dual drum or whatever. Again, it's he there's a few of them with a couple of different celebrity drummers, but there's one against Harry Belafonte from the Muppet Show that's really good.
How about was it Dave Grohl who was his counterpart?
Amazing. And the Muppets Muppets. Oh my gosh! As soon as Dave Grohl put it up, I was like, "Oh my god!" He has a funny name too. It's like Animal or something.
They're all.
Oh my gosh! Amazing.
That's a good choice. That's a solid choice. Okay, now I'm not as nervous about. Well, wait a minute.
No, my list rules, man.
All right. Sean, what do you got?
Sean, you're number 4.
I got Pepe, King Brano.
Pepe's good, man.
I'm glad he made it.
I love those snippy one-liners. I love that he's that pure, like self-motivated character, but he's the one with a real sense of street smarts. You know, Rizzo plays a bit of that role, but Rizzo's kind of a softie compared to Pepe. But even Pepe turns around once he realizes that it is in his interest, his own self-interest, to be a team player.
Yeah, he straight sells out the Muppets later on, and then comes back on it. Spoiler alert!
Oh yeah,
he sells them out.
Joan Cusack,
He sells them out, and then comes back and redeems himself.
Yep.
I love that moment. I really do like him in that very Merry Muppet thing because he does his little dance, which is so adorable and hilarious. And like you said, he does save the day by going to the city hall and designating the Muppet Theater as a historical landmark.
But that also is his scenes and hers are some of the more inappropriate.
Yes, totally.
Edge, but innuendo, as she mentions in there, not everything's an innuendo.
Yeah.
And now, and then this is I'm going to go on to another little Walter rant again, but he is the Muppet that he's introduced in Muppets Tonight. And his character on that show is like he operates the elevator and he's always trying to get in front of the camera. So he starts off as a very side character and moves up to become one of the most popular characters. I mean, of course, on our list of all time.
You're talking about Pepe.
I'm talking about Pepe.
Yeah.
He went the route.
He pays the way. He worked his way up. Get out of here.
Yeah. And Walter just came off the street.
What did Walter do? Walter bypassed the minors and went straight to pro ball.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. All right.
What do you got, Matt? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Sam the Eagle.
Oh.
Do anything. He's the boringest guy. He's do one thing.
Especially because I asked the question earlier, are we going to be talking about them in their movie roles or all encompassing?
He's still
so
boring.
on the Muppet Show, he's hilarious because Frank Oz performs him up until I think Muppet Treasure Island was the last Frank Oz movie. But yeah, a lot of people, he's a snob, he's conservative, you might think he'd be wearing a MAGA hat today, but I don't think he would.
He would.
No,
well, not today.
Right? No, not today.
Maybe yesterday he would, but not today.
But I think he has conservative views, but I think he's very much like, I don't like what you say, but I'll defend your right to say it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? He follows the rules and he's not a sore loser. Is the point?
He's just a loser.
And he's blue. He's blue, my favorite color.
I will say he has one of the funnier moments in the movies in all of the movies for me when he's playing the schoolmaster and he's like, "It's the American way," and you hear so much. It's the British way.
Yes,
he's a patriot.
That definitely popped me.
Yes.
So that's the one time that I cracked up about it.
I gotta go back to.
I'm just like, oh, Sam the Eagle, get out of here.
Yeah, I gotta go back to watching Muppet Show, and when you talk about it, like Scott said, where it's skit. If his skit was on, I'm leaving the room. Probably, I'm getting a snack. I'm coming back for the next skit.
His best skit is.
We're still talking about Sam the Eagle.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
His best skit is with Ralph the dog, and they're doing like a call and response kind of a song, and I think it's called something like Tit Willow. So Ralph sings the verse, and then Sam goes. He has to sing Tit Willow, Tit Willow, Tit Willow, and it's hilarious because at one point Sam like looks off screen, is like, "You want to take this over?" He doesn't want to be there, and that's just the Frank Oz, improv master that he is.
I love me some Frank Oz, but I don't like me some Sam the Eagle. I'll tell you that. So that's okay. That's okay.
Number 4.
Here we go. It is. He has, I should say, been mentioned before. It is Cool Man Pepe,
and this is not going to be his last time mentioned.
Yeah.
What a pose.
Yeah. What do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino? Elephino.
Yes.
I mean, come on. He is the man. There's not really much else to say because we have brought him up several times. So I'll leave it at the fact that it's just he actually makes jokes himself that make me laugh. It's not just the whole scenario, the scene. He'll say something and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was genuinely a funny joke. But I'll leave it at that. Andrew, you can move on to your 4 since he came up already.
Okay, we have not talked about this gentleman, and he is in all the movies, or not all the movies, not the really crappy ones, but he is in most of the movies. He's the main star of From Space, and that is the great Gonzo.
Yeah.
Again, even going back to the show, great Gonzo when he is doing his stunts and like doing his wacky stuff, and he every time I found this rewatch, every time he made a comment, we're like, oh man, we could fall off that and die, and Gonzo's like, oh, wouldn't that be great?
Kind of suicidal, isn't he?
Yes.
Ain't it cool?
Yeah. Oh man. And so that kind of stuff really cracked me up. And like we've talked about, you don't know what he is until Muppets from Space, and that's like a kind of running gag throughout the Muppet Show and the early movies. You're like, what are you? Like, what do you think? He's just himself. Well, and like I really, really like his story later on in, I think, in the Muppets, right? And then they kind of like, he's kind of like almost like the burnt out performer.
No, like, he's running like a plumbing empire.
A plumbing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
He's like beyond it. He's over it. Amazing. He gives them like 30 seconds to state their case.
That's right. I'm thinking of the alternate reality in was it The Very Muppet Christmas?
Oh, possibly.
Oh, yeah. Where he's like
when he's busking on the streets, and I'm like, oh man, that's kind of cool.
But I do love when they get him in the Muppet movie, and then the whole place blows up, and
man,
let's go.
Like, does that really necessary?
Can we take a moment to discuss his relationship with Camilla the chicken?
No.
I mean, not unless we're gonna get like an R rating. No.
Okay, all right.
Don't spoil it.
All right, fine. Scott.
Okay, so this is where we're gonna go in. I'm really excited about this.
Here we go.
My next Muppet, and I want to give a little bit of love to my number 4, this man, Scooter.
Oh,
let's go, guys. Scooter talk. Scooter is so important to everything that the Muppets do in the Muppet Show himself. I enjoy Scooter. Okay, where to begin? I had worked behind the scenes at the WF. Yeah, I worked behind the scenes. That has nothing to do. It's who you know, and he's still good for the job. He's the glue that keeps that whole show working. There is no Muppet show that you guys love so much without Scooter running it. I worked at the WFC Center, and I have been backstage. AB knows with the technical side of things. I have been backstage on events and saw my friend, the director of events, playing the Elton John concert, and how by a string that show got off everything done. Scooter does that. Scooter runs the fundraiser that they have to get their 10 million or however much it is, and he's getting the time and slotted, go, and you're out here, and he never gets any of the credit and respect because people step on him.
Sucks.
And he's got that nice track jacket. I read on Muppet's Wikipedia, he's like 14 years old, so he's running all this as like some savant child.
Scooter is the epitome of nepotism. Scooter only is where yes, because
no,
Scooter
he's not.
Yes, the story of Scooter is that his uncle owns the theater. That's the only reason Scooter
paved the way for him. That's what we all, as you as parents and we as coming up as should pave the way for the next generation and leave a lineage in our family. What's wrong with that?
If I want,
he also puts in the work. Like if he was just a loser who did nothing off to the side, like Scooter is the hardest working man. Scooter is the hardest working man in the theater.
Scooter has to juggle you love all these characters. You love Swedish Chef. You love Pepe. He has to juggle all these egos.
No.
500 egos.
None of them
listen to Scooter. They don't think they do because how does it get off? Kermit's so ho-hum riding his bike around.
No, it always just falls into place. Irrelevant. Lift him out. The show will still go on. Things will be haphazard still, and they'll still be successful. He's just in the background there to chirp at them.
But you don't even know the other stuff. Scooter's in charge of all the merchandising, all the dog rights, and everything else too.
Yeah, he does all the
instruments.
He does all the shit work while everyone else has fun.
AB, give me this. You got to see the inside. You got to see how the sausage. Give me a fist here. You got to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, I'm with you, Scott. I'm with you. You're 100% right.
You and I know how the sausage is made on these things.
We know the struggles of the guys in the background while you have divas out in front.
So you're missing the point. I don't argue that people behind the scenes do that. I argue Scooter doesn't. That's my argument.
That's insane that you don't say that.
Incompetent. He doesn't do anything.
And I was going to argue the point where if you lift Scooter, it gets done anyways. I would say. And I think they've done it on Muppets Tonight. You lift Scooter, Rizzo is taking his place and doing that. That character has to exist one way or another. Someone who's running the
but it doesn't make him a strong character in my opinion.
I like him. I think he's cool. I think the jacket's cool. I like his little glasses. My guy, my number 4, ride or die with Scooter.
I like that it comes back.
I don't like Scooter, but I respect that. And I respect
the shit out of him. I wanted Scooter to get a shout out because I knew you guys don't like him.
Well, on the same token, it's the embodiment of nepotism and the oligarchy. So goodbye to Scooter for that purpose, but someone's got to do the schlep work. So I get it.
Okay, so let's go back to Pepe, as Matt said, who did his time, put in his hours, worked at the elevator, blah, blah, blah. You give me someone else to do that job, such as Rizzo and Muppets Tonight, I'm going to appreciate that person more. Somebody who just comes in and is annoying and Kermit and just runs back and forth and doesn't really provide any actual plot points to the actual skits or make me laugh or enjoy anything. I'll like them better, but not this.
Walter with less personality.
Say that again.
Scooter is Walter with less personality.
Oh, man.
They're both good characters. Walter's good, Scooter's good. My number 4 is Rolf the dog. Like, get out of here. No, Scooter is important.
No one's number 4.
What's your number 4, Sean?
My number 4 was Pepe. My number 3 is the Great Gonzo.
Oh,
reasons already expressed. Being unique, loving his uniqueness in the world, things that other people consider weird or abnormal, he embraces as himself. If we could all do that, we'd all be happier people.
Yeah, he's that character that lets you say it's okay to be weird.
Yeah,
which is what you need, right?
Well, so I'll be talking about him later.
Even before they get to Muppets from space. Yeah, even before they get to Muppets from space, they all respect and love him, right? Like they accept his weirdness, they accept how crazy he is. They all love him, right? And so, like, you're right that presents that this guy is a weirdo, this guy's crazy, but we're all support and love him, which is
never a stick in the mud. He's always game to do whatever. He's excited and ready to go.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's a good one. So we're hearing him again, I'm sure.
Yeah, but not before I mention my number 3, Pepe.
All right, tell me a Pepe joke.
Not me and Scott's list. That's it. Everyone else has.
Yeah, just this.
He was my 6th though, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious. Cute. We've talked about him more than enough, I think, already.
I was going to say though that I do love the fact that he's a relatively, if you will, in the world of Muppets, a newer Muppet.
Sure.
But he's getting a lot of love. So there is something to be said there. As much as people are saying that Walter this and that, you can create a new Muppet and have them be good. They don't have to all be from the 70s,
Well, I think I was talking to Matt. Maybe it's just me and Matt, and I said that him and Bobo were the last good new characters that they've brought in. Like everyone else is okay, but like those two are like stand out, and those two are like, to me now, classic Muppets, right? Sure. They fall in line with everyone. Classic Muppets, where it's like anyone else they brought in the like Italian mobster guy.
I love him
with the monkey.
He's terrific.
Yeah, Sal,
Johnny and Sal.
Yeah. They're funny enough, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Sal Bananas. Oh my, that's Brian Henson doing that puppet. He's so good.
Yeah. So that's your number 2 then, Matt? No,
that was my number 3, Pepe.
No, I meant Sal and.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my, what am I on? Number 3?
3.
Okay, so this is where I start with the ones that Scott will be like, yeah, right, whatever. So this is, by the way, this is Sweetums.
Robin.
And this is Sweetums, and I purposely have him holding Robin there because he's going to crush him. He's going to crush him. No, Sweetums, there's so much to be said about Sweetums. I went through times with Sweetums where like I was terrified of Sweetums, because of just how huge he was. And then I loved him because he's just that big, adorable lug. And when you see him in the movies, right, he wants to be with them.
So nice. Everyone thinks he's this horrible guy.
Yeah. Wait up, guys. Wait up. I want to go to Hollywood.
And he's like helping everybody out. I'm like carrying cars.
Oh, did he move the car?
Yeah.
He's the reason they got the car for like $11.95 or something.
Yeah.
He swatted
or something.
Yeah, I swatted the bug.
Yeah.
And so the thing with Sweetums for me is he's fascinating to me, just like on Fraggles, Junior Gorg and the Gorgs. And I like the concept of sort of Muppets that are also full costume, right?
Humans.
It's a human in a costume, but I still think of them like the way they design the costumes are that they still look like a puppet.
Sure.
Even though it's clearly someone in the costume. Yeah. And so he was always fascinating to me because of that. When he would come out and he'd just lumber some with his club or whatever. And again, he doesn't have like huge scenes or big skits, but he's just kind of there to chase someone around or throw him over his shoulder and run off the stage. But I can't not have him on my list. It was a hard decision where to put him, but so he gets number 3 for me.
Cool. My number 3 has already got some hate, and I didn't appreciate it. My number 3 is the true rock star of the group. We're talking about my man, Dr. Teeth. I love Dr. Teeth. I think he is the musical genius behind Electric Mayhem. He's the band leader. He's writing all the songs. He's singing a ton of the songs. He's the coolest cat. He's based on the real singer, Dr. Hook. And like right down to like the feather in the hat, the gold tooth. It's literally ripped from Dr. Hook, and the voice too. His voice is also represented from Dr. Hook. And like, I just think he is so cool. And like, he always cracks me up. He's throwing out one-liners and making fun of people. And again, like Sean said, when you talked about the whole band, Electric Mayhem, he is bringing the funk. And I love Dr. Teeth. Even his name, Dr. Teeth, is incredible.
It's a pretty epic name. He
it's a PhD, guys. Let's calm down.
Yeah, but I mean, Dr. Pepper. I like Dr. Pepper too. He's just like cool. You know what I mean? Like there's just you're like when he talks, you're like, "What's that, Dr. Teeth? I'm listening."
Yeah. I don't know what the opposite of monosyllabic is, because his words just go for miles.
Yeah.
But I completely support that. So much so that I will say it again later. Scott, what you got for yours? Your number 3.
My number 3, a gentleman who came up a few times already. He is the beating heart of the Muppets.
Wow. I love that you found him in his like dress attire.
Oh, for sure. Scott went looking for.
Yeah.
The reason why
he Googled Gonzo formal and
Gonzo fly. Same thing. We'll spend 30 more seconds on him. Gonzo, to me, there are other Muppets we'll talk about who are more popular and kind of symbolize the soul of the Muppets and everything else. I think Gonzo is 100% the beating heart of the entire Muppet franchise. I think he is the most ride or die friend amongst them all. And like we said, he comes up with the most fun, thought-provoking parts of the Muppet saga, where he belongs, where he's from. Kermit's line in the first film when he's talking about, I got a pig lady and a dog and whatever Gonzo is. I think he's a turkey. Little things like that are always very funny. Again, two things that I really liked in Most Wanted, when he has free reign of whatever he can do. He immediately wants to run with the bulls indoors with Selma Hayek. What a great call. And he dances to Maroon 5. So I'm also down with Gonzo's music choice.
Gosh.
Again, my number 3 on that has come up already is Gonzo.
Cool.
And where do you stand on the Camilla Gonzo situation?
No.
Oh, okay.
Dude just wants to get his beak wet, man. Ain't no problem. Ain't no thing.
Now, his beak or her beak? I'm just...
Sensual.
Okay. Sean, what do you got for 2?
He stretches his beak out.
For number 2, and I debated 2 and 1, but 2 is going to go to Rizzo. A lot of the charm of Pepe, the fun street savvy of Pepe, but a little bit, let's get deep again. You could tell he comes from a big family. He comes from poverty. He knows that he's got to take care of himself, and yet he also knows that through loyalty and sticking with your friends, you can get by. And in a tough situation, instead of getting really antagonistic and fighting back, look at Christmas Carol. Gonzo's like, oh, you could have gotten fit through the bars. You're such an idiot. And instead of getting defensive, lets it down and kisses Gonzo. No, thank you. Can we all be a little bit like Rizzo? Tough, gritty, determined, but thinking of others, and ultimately willing to just open up your heart and love them. Thank you.
And, he owns his own pizza restaurant in Walt Disney World, just so you know. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, take that, Remy from Ratatouille.
I believe he now has a restaurant as well. I think they were just building it, but that's okay.
Against each other.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the great Gonzo.
Oh, look at that!
Is he made everybody's list?
I don't see a lot of green yet, folks. I'm just saying.
Oh, 4.
He's not making it.
All right, that's fine. But in terms of his character, he's not a traditional entertainer. He's a performance artist.
Yeah,
he thinks everything he does is art. He reminds me of like Andy Kaufman, who was like, I'm not a comedian, I'm a song and dance man. He did elaborate stunts and skits as well, that I think would be right up Gonzo's alley, because he's not a jokey guy. He would never call himself, he leaves that for Fozzie. His stuff is supposed to make you think. Now, after Jim Henson died, he died after the Muppets Take Manhattan. So before the Muppet Christmas Carol, a lot of the Muppet people wanted to retire his characters or, bring them back. You can't do that to Kermit because he's the icon, but you can have him step back. And when they did that, they pressed Gonzo forward. So Muppet Christmas Carol, him and Rizzo are kind of like the lead. There's the direct-to-video, the Muppets Classic Theater, where they do a bunch of little skits and stuff, and him and Rizzo are hosting that. Muppet Treasure Island again, and then finally he gets his own movie. He's rewarded with his very own movie, while Kermit, who's played by Steve Whitmire at this point, is is obviously not a secondary character, but he has taken a step back. So yeah, like Gonzo picked up the ball and ran with it essentially from a certain point on. And that's why he's my number 2.
I mean, there is an argument here, too. If you look around, no one has said, the list isn't done yet, but no one has said Kermit, but Gonzo's come up 4 times. Gonzo, in general, is a more interesting character than Kermit, no matter, anyways, right? Like Kermit, Kermit is Henson, if you will, and he's the face of the Muppets, but...
And for the most part, he's we've talked about the straight man. Kermit is the straight man in most of the stuff, right? He is
Michael, he's very much like
off of him.
Yeah. So he's not as interesting because of that.
Right. Exactly.
But so okay. So we're on number 2 for mine here. This is not a new one here, but we will still show him tickling those ivories.
Yes.
It is Dr. Teeth. Won't say much other than I got something. I don't know. I just love this guy. It's the coolness of him. It's his sort of just like, I got it, I'll handle it, and just tickle those ivories, and everything is fine. You know what I mean? That's all he's got to do. He definitely doesn't drive huge storylines or anything, and he's a background player. But they are the house band. They are the music, and without them, right? You don't have. I mean, not the songs in the movies, of course, but you don't have any kind of rhythm and beat and cool feel to the show, in my opinion. Right? It's just a bunch of wacky people running around.
He's the soundtrack of your nostalgia,
if you will. So yeah, he's my number 2.
All right, my number 2 is a pair of gentlemen. I'll give it away right away. We haven't talking.
It wasn't all bad. No, it wasn't half bad. It wasn't half bad. It was all bad.
More. It's so funny. I watched Muppets as a little kid, obviously, when it was on TV. And so my parents used to tell me that anytime those guys came on, before they even said words, I would just be in hysterics and like anytime they started talking and like doing their shtick, I was just dying. and like I didn't really understand as a kid what they were saying, but I just loved their like the way their interactions and stuff like that. And they were making fun of the Muppets. I loved it. And as I grew older and like started to like develop my own like feel for comedy, obviously it aligned with what I like in comedy, right? The kind of like mocking, kind of like making fun of what's going on. And like when I rewatch the Muppet Show, I wait for those moments where they pop up and be like, just start making fun of what's going on. Like when stuff starts going crazy, they're the ones stepping into it. And I really love how they incorporated them into the movies. We'll get into one of their things later on, but they crack me up. They no matter what, every time they appear, I'm dying laughing.
I mean, I think we talked about this off camera. They are essentially really a trio in many scenarios because Fozzie's shtick, it doesn't work as well without them up there heckling him because he's not really funny, and that's the whole joke. That's the whole joke. But he's hilarious because of what they say after, like that whole shtick. Yeah.
But they take the whole Muppet universe. Yeah. They offer that voice of self-deprecation.
Sure.
They beat the audience to cutting themselves up. You know, like they get that they're not taking themselves seriously. This is just for fun. And now they're the cautionary tale. Don't be these old geezers heckling.
Don't be them. They're so mean. I hate them. They're so miserable.
I aspire to become them.
Yeah, that's so sad, man. They're so mean.
They are dressed nice. They have the best seats in the house.
Yeah, they show up. They pay their money every time. They pay the money to be at
the season tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
Have a good life. So
for sure. And they as much as I mean it comes out throughout the show, right? They really love what's going on. Clearly, like I said, they keep showing up time and time again, and they let it slip sometime. They were like, I really like that. And we're like, what? You didn't like it? I'm like, I would like it. And we're like, yeah. So it's just that's their shtick. It's not they don't really hate it. They actually love it, but their shtick is to thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. My number 2's come up already on majority of lists. He was a gentleman that I was like, oh man, this was vying for my number 1. I gotta go with the man. I gotta go with Rizzo as my number 2. So reason why I picked Rizzo as my number 2, just to add to what's been discussed already, this dude rules. He's effortlessly cool. Oh, absolutely. He's effortlessly cool. What's funny, I read about he is actually named after Dustin Hoffman's character in Midnight Cowboy, who was Rizzo. So you definitely see he's got that New York edge to him too.
They do that in Take Manhattan.
Take Manhattan, I know. And he took his name and a lot of sensibility about him as well too. Like I said, effortlessly cool. This dude rules. He's my kind of guy. He'd be the kind of guy that would start shit at a bar and chirp people and make friends with them. And people would be like, man, that Rizzo's such a dick, but he's so likable. Something I aspire to in my personal life to achieve that level. Again, he is effortlessly cool. gets in the the one scene when they're working in the prison with the other rats. It's all gold. So like I said, anytime he pops up, he's the ultimate heat check player. He steals every scene he's in. So my number 2, vying for my 1 up until a little bit ago, but my number 2 is Rizzo.
So I want to just get this straight, although, and this has nothing to do with Rizzo, you want to be a dick in person but just not up in a balcony is essentially
exactly. But I want to be likable. Okay. I don't want to be mean to people. Okay. I want to be like Rizzo would be mean, be like, that sucks. No, but I'm just kidding though. But this is how it's good. And you like Pesci, you'd be like, that guy's a dick, but I think he means well. Those old men do not mean, they're just mean. They're just mean. Rizzo's like super likable about it.
Mean well. They're trying to help the show. They're trying to help the show. Fozzie is like bombing it, and so they're bringing the comedy.
That's true. That is accurate.
If it was just Fozzie doing like Mike said, if it was just Fozzie doing straight stand up without any heckling, we would all just be sitting there like, oh my god, that joke was the worst. That literally was the worst.
That
but
is true.
Settler. Anyway.
So Sean's number 2, right?
Yeah,
Sean's number 1.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Ooh, baby.
You ready for this?
Well, here we go.
You ready for this?
We know where it's going, and I don't like it.
Gonzo again?
You don't like it? You don't like it? That's where is it? I just got it right here. No, not that one.
Oh, do you? He's got visuals.
Here, I got a visual. We go here.
And
I gotta say,
where is it?
I don't see your visual. Wait, what's in front of it? Oh my gosh!
Is that Denise in the top corner?
Get out of here.
He's hot.
Yeah, see, Mike, I knew Mike would not appreciate that.
I don't either.
I got rid of it.
Piggy, you're number 1.
But when you, not as the individual character, but in terms of her importance for the story arc of all Muppetism, the whole Muppet Kingdom is based on this pig that somehow sees herself as a beauty queen, as an actress, as a superstar. And even though there's always times being made fun of alongside it, other characters make fun of her. Oh my God, who's this pig? There's references to how big she is in some Christmas songs in some of the CDs that they produced. But when you look at it, she is feminism embodied. She is empowered. She loves dressing up as fashion, but she is also in charge. She's going.
She's a good character. She chases down the mugger and beats the shit out of him by herself. She need a man.
Uses Kermit and everyone else.
Yeah, can we talk? Okay, I get the angle of feminism, but can we also not let's not gloss over the fact that she essentially sexually assaults Kermit at every moment she possibly can, and physically assaults everyone, right? Just karate chops them left and right.
When she doesn't get her way.
Yeah.
It's the Muppet response to an all too often human interaction, and it flips that gender role as a form of empowerment. So I'm just going to say, Piggy says it may have historically been this way, but X the patriarchy, here comes the pig. Hiya!
I don't know. I just as the essential lead female character in it, I just would have hoped for something better, or I would hope along the lines they would have come up with something as a secondary lead because who do you have really female lead Muppet? Janice is the in the band, and that's it. Like, terrible. Yeah, so
she's terrible.
Is
the worst person in that band.
Otherwise, you got a room full of dudes.
Well, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with sort of the feminist angle, but she's just far too much, you know?
She's intentionally.
Yeah, of course.
She's far too much, but
she bends the story to her will, and that's admirable. She gets what she wants, and she
tricked him into marrying her. Like, that was like a
she gets what she wants.
Not twice.
Yeah. She's the Alexander Hamilton of the story. Everyone hates her, but she gets what she wants. And people are driving themselves crazy, being like, how does Piggy keep getting away with it? She's Teflon.
Why should we accept that? I don't know. I was just okay.
Okay. I like that.
All right. My number 1 is, like I said before, he's the icon. He's the leader. He crosses all of the different Muppet media barriers. He's, the face, the voice. Kermit the Frog is my number 1.
There we go. Good. At least we meet. At least we meet that works.
Created by Jim Henson for like some commercials at one point. He was just like some sock puppet lizard. Then Sesame Street came along. He got his gig as a reporter and taught kids how to spell.
Yep.
Got his own show with the Muppet Show, became, the leader of that whole thing. And then from there, movies spanned. He's in everything that says Muppets, he's been in. Yep. He didn't have a role in Fraggle Rock, but he got to meet them in that one Christmas special. Sure. As far as the character is concerned, I think Ralph the dog might be just a little bit older, but Kermit certainly is, the longest lasting physical icon of the Muppets.
Yep. Can't argue with it.
Yeah.
I can argue with it, but I won't.
Yes.
You mentioned about him not being a very interesting character, which I won't disagree with, but he is, he's the spokesperson.
He's the centerpiece.
Kermit's a Muppet that, and if he makes anyone's top 5, you can't argue it whether you like him or not, because he's Kermit. He's Kermit.
Yeah. He is literally the linchpin. Yeah. Like you said, we're pulling Scooter out of it. You pull the Kermit out of it. There's literally nothing. Yeah. He is the like you said, he's uninteresting, but he is the magnet that's literally bringing everybody together.
If you look at especially if you look at the movies and original storylines of the older ones as well, they all revolve around him bringing the group together, him, that kind of thing.
Say what you want about Walter and disparage him all you like, but he was great to idolize the frog and realize that was the central hub. And he,
say what you want about Walter. I love that. All right, I'm not even gonna put the title cards up because I don't need to. It's these gentlemen.
We knew.
See if I can get them both on there. There we go. I got work the camera, Mike. Yeah, I know there's going to be disagreement. I know there's going to be agreement, but as far as, and it's already been said mostly, but these guys from the get-go have been my favorite. They are the Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld of the Muppet world. The fact that they just, their whole shtick and their whole job is to just sort of make fun of what's going on down below, and it works, is what I love about them. And they, in my opinion, sort of like you guys, I think maybe Sean said it, the Muppet world is chaos. It's nonsense. It's whatever. And they're just sort of there to point out that they see it too. So they are us going, what? Did that just happen? Like, and so I like that. They legitimize the fact that they also realize, and they jab at themselves, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's funny. I like the back and forth. I think I would have liked it better if it were, going back to what Matt said earlier, I would have liked it better if it were Henson and Oz doing the voices. It's not. It's Oz and then a few different people.
No, it's Henson and Richard
Oh, sorry.
Hunt.
Yes, Henson and a few. Yeah, no, but Richard Hunt only did it for a little bit, and then I think a couple other people took it over. So, but you're right. It's Henson, but I would have loved it to have been them, or like back and forth. You know what I mean? That sort of duo. But I guess voice-wise, it probably would have been.
Because Fozzie is Frank Oz on stage.
Yeah,
and really
exactly.
Can't have Frank Oz.
Exactly. Yeah. But I just like the dynamic would have been cool because when I think of Muppets, I think Oz and Henson, right? Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, they were always going to be my number 1. 1 and 2, I guess. I don't know.
Bad chill.
My number 1 has already been mentioned by Scott, and he is the wild man of the bunch. He is Animal. I've loved Animal since I was alive. Whoa, I love his woman, and chasing there's a woman chasing her off the stage. Like, I love that whole shtick. I'll be like, the skit's done. Oh, bring on Animal to chase the lovely guest star off the stage. Like,
that's great.
I guess I have to argue that. Yeah, I have to argue that too now because
has anyone seen Animal after the hashtag Me Too movement? Has he remained unscathed after Me Too?
It's like I just love. He's like he constantly has chains, and at some points they have him chained up. And they unleash them in order to come and play in the band, right? They have them all locked up, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're gonna go break out Animal." Like, all right, and he just wilding out on the drums. I love him, and when he has one of my favorite moments in Muppet Christmas Carol, where he's playing
like hitting the triangle.
The triangle, ting ting, and it finally just can't take it anymore. And they just start rocking out, and everyone's like, "Oh, all right, let's get into it." And
Doesn't he like Scott was saying earlier, remember how he can't play the drums because Jack Black, that whole thing?
Yeah.
And doesn't he have the triangle there too? Because that's always
I just love, again, like we've talked about how essential music is for me for Muppets. He kind of is that rock star music central thing that revolves around the whole show, because he's, like Mike said, he is in the whole show. He's not just in the musical numbers. They pops up, and he just anytime he's on screen, he cracks me up. Anyway, Animal number one.
Obviously his voice and mannerisms, people love to do that impression, clearly made him one of the most popular Muppets of all time.
Sure.
Yeah, all you had to be able to say was "woman."
Yeah. and drums. Beat drums. Eat drums. No, beat drums. I love that line.
Scott.
Amazing.
In space.
So for my number one, there's two kinds of characters I like the arrogant douchebag who came into my number two, and golden boy icons. Yeah, so with that said, my number one has to be Kermit the Frog.
Where's his suit?
Yeah,
Kermit the Frog, without question. The icon, the beating soul of the show. Without him, he connects everybody. Everybody loves him. His storylines stir the drink of the Muppet stories. And like I said to Natalie after I finished the whole saga, she's like, "What were some of your takeaways?" And I said, "I'm confident saying that I do think Kermit the Frog is probably quintessentially the most likable character ever created. Like in any celluloid movies, television, there is no more generally likable character. There's nobody that doesn't like Kermit the Frog.
It's true.
Like he may not be number one, you like others more, but I just think like if you met him, you'd be like, man, what a likable human, person, like Muppet. Yeah. So like I said, so that being said, he's the golden boy icon. He's the Tom Brady. He's like I said, he keeps getting older and he keeps getting better, and he may not be flashy. He just goes, and you're like, God damn, that's the man right there. That's the goat. That's the goat Muppet. So my number one's Kermit.
Puppeteering, historically, he's on his third regular, voice and puppeteer with Jim Henson 1, Steve Whitmire 2, and now it's Matt Vogel who's taken over the
controversial
Kermit area. So clearly, he's not going anywhere. The character,
yeah. But that was controversial, when they laid off Whitmore. They fired off a bunch of those original voice actors and never really said why, and it was just boom, gone. Which I was like, I didn't like that.
A little bit of research. I think there's a couple of things where Kermit, because he's the icon of the Muppets, he's in high demand for ribbon cutting ceremonies and stuff. And Steve Whitmire's like, I don't want to do that. And he wanted more money for certain things and a lighter schedule and stuff like that. So they were like, okay, we're going to let you go. Disney fired
him. There's no ribbon cuttings anymore. I mean, ain't no one getting together for ribbon cuttings.
Yeah. But I mean, that
joke's on you, Whitmer.
That again is like a Disney thing that irked me when they took over. But anyways, so
okay,
we got
2-hour mark.
Songs. We got the big ticket here. The big ticket, right? So you want to explain it, Matt?
Yes, our top 5 favorite songs from the movies.
Yeah.
And we're going to sing them, right? Is that how we're doing it? No?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm down.
If he plays all these songs, we're going to be here till 1 a.m.
But in Mack Flash tradition, Shitty Flute will be, and I'll just grab
I would love that.
That would be amazing.
Oh, man.
Okay, so I don't know who wants to start.
Well, how do we go? You started.
Sean started.
The movie.
I started the movie. Sean started the Muppets.
Oh yeah.
Which one of you? I think let's have Scott start. AB's the real music guy. He'll
that's
and with AB. Okay. Yeah, that works.
I'm going to be the quickest one. I do not have much to add on the songs. I listened to the playlist again today. I did a couple other rankings on some other sites just to kind of get a sense for generally what are regarded as the best. I listened to this on a iTunes playlist, and my number 5 is "Can You Picture That" by Dr. Teeth.
I was going to say, whoa.
Electric Mayhem.
This is Dr. Teeth's song, man. That is
I know
song. This is his jam.
I know. I listened to it again, and I was like, "Well, you just can't deny that's a banger of a song." I agree with you. Me and who's right there, stirring the drink and making sure everyone goes. My man
Janice.
Scooter. Scooter.
He's a percussionist at one point. He's playing that like that solid washboard thing.
Yes.
Sure. I have nothing to add except the song. The song slaps.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
Dr. Teeth. I wouldn't want to have a conversation with him, but he makes a good song. Good for him.
I wouldn't want to have a conversation with him, but I like his song. I like that. That's a good. Put it on the album cover.
All right, Sean.
Number 5 song.
Number 5.
All right, number 5. I'm gonna go with Scrooge.
That's my number 6. I'm so excited. I don't know if anyone else has it higher. I rewatched that scene again. The only problem is it's like 2 minutes long. But what a shot! The way they shoot him up and they make him look enormous, and they're just talking about how evil he is. That's how you set the tone for an incredible villain character. Awesome. Please continue.
In Muppet fashion, it's very Muppetized and it's kind of whimsical and fun, but it really cuts to the character of Scrooge and a lot of the details that you don't want to narrate in a movie, you want to show. They include those details through their songs about how he chills the air around him. I mean, it's a great way to take 5 pages of very long prose and stick it into a 2-minute ditty that everyone appreciates. It's worse for us Mises, the plural of mice. It's just brilliant. All the multiple puppets involved. There I am, Scrooge.
It almost upsets me that he becomes like a good guy at the end of the movie because he can't have that awesome walkout song anymore.
Life's a happy song. Yeah.
It comes for Scrooge after.
So my number 5 was when I was doing this, my number 1 was kind of obvious, 2 and everything. It really came down to like, okay, so what's my number 5? My number 5 is Moving Right Along. And it's a terrific, it's Kermit and Fozzie in the car, just narrating their travels through song. And Kermit's got his banjo, and they each have a verse. This is one of those things where it's Henson and Oz, at their best, essentially.
For sure, I agree.
Oh my gosh, I won't say any more about that at the moment.
Okay,
same.
Then, Mike, you can start off with your.
Okay, so we'll see how well this works here. I'm testing this out here, so we're gonna add this to the stream. There we are.
Oh man!
And let's see. I'm just gonna let it run and see in the background there. That's good. No sound there. That's good. Okay, don't want any. I'm not the hugest fan. Like I put in context, this movie's good, but it's not the top of my movies, which is why the song is not the top of my song. But there is something about Marley and Marley that is an earworm. Like you can't stop singing it.
Yes.
When you hear it, right? And I mean, it doesn't matter that it's my 2 guys. Like that's not what it is. It's just it's catchy, and I love that they use them as them, to sing. And I love the look of the actual puppetry too, like the ghost aspect to it. But it's a damn catchy song, and it in a movie that isn't ranked at the highest for me, it says something because I want to hear this song over and over. Agreed. So that is my number 5. Marley and Marley from Christmas Carol.
Yeah, okay. My number 5 is the newest song for me on my list, and that is Life's a Happy Song. So nice. They sang it twice. They bring it back for the reprise. And it's just a great song. It really, it's infectious. It gets you happy when it plays. Like when you're listening to that soundtrack, and I listen to that soundtrack, like we've said before, just on its own, when I'm listening to the soundtrack, that song is it just brightens my day. And it talks, and to me, it's very meaningful because it makes you think about the people in your life and how much they should mean to you and how they make your life better. And it's just a perfect song for me. And it sets the tone for the movie. And it sets the tone for the end when it brings everything together. It's fantastic.
And I like that it's catchy, and when they're walking down the street and they have the vendor singing parts, and the one part they don't even rhyme, so they just go, yes, it is. Like,
it's a song about a fish, gefilte fish.
Yeah, yes, it is. And
and then and then we'll get to it. But it's on my list later. But I love the one part where it's like, okay, have they gone?
Yes, they all fall over.
So meta and so perfect.
Absolutely, yes. And even some cameos in the middle of the song. Feist comes in and sings a little.
Yes, and Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney is on the bench.
But Feist is especially a cameo there because she sang her song 1, 2, 3, 4 on Sesame Street, and that was a big hit on Sesame Street when she came on. That. I thought that was a cool callback. But all of these that we're saying here in my head, I'm humming them, I'm singing them. Like that's a good sign, right? So.
Well, and like we've said this whole time, and I'll keep repeating it. That's one of the things for me that makes Muppets so great is the songs. I love the songs, and it's huge for me.
Yep.
Number 5, Scott.
That said, my number 4.
Yeah.
My number 4, like Matt said, moving right along with Kermit and Kermit's friend. I don't want to dignify any time spent on this, but when I did say there was one Muppet I hated with the heat of 1,000 suns in its head, I despise all things about that Lynch hanger-oner who supplies nothing to the story, doesn't do one thing. I'm so thankful nobody picked him. That song is so fun and enjoyable. It's a perfect road trip song. It's really like I could imagine road tripping and picking up friends and bopping around and driving. Like it is a very like toe tapping fun song. Unfortunately, it has to incorporate Fozzie, who is the worst of the worst.
Wow.
Of the worst Muppets. I hate Fozzie.
That was not the one I was expecting.
Which is a shame because Matt's dog is named Fozzie Bear, and now I have to strangle it.
I like the running gag they have in I think it's Muppet Caper, where they're like twins. So they think they're twins. Yeah, so as a frog or a bear.
Here, put on the hat. And you're like,
bears for hats.
Oh,
whatever. Sure. Moving right along is great. I agree with Matt.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Sean.
So I'm liking some of these sad songs a little bit. I don't know why, but I'm going to go back there someday from Gonzo. Just that whole nostalgia and about some time being a better time or something you've achieved, re-aspiring towards that good from the past. And, it's just it's one of those touching pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Nice one. Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of that.
Or crying, but at the same time, just one of those touching things. And the Muppets have a way of bypassing some of our normal defenses, right? They just get right to our hearts.
Absolutely.
I wanted to put that on too because that was ranked number 2 on one of the lists I found on like Reddit, and I was like, "This is very good," but it's just a little too slow and a little too sad. I wanted to put a slow song on, but Muppets have so many good fast songs, so.
And after the release of Muppets from Space and we get Gonzo's origin, everybody was like, in terms of IMDb trivia, it's like that song is a, foreshadowing of his future revelation that he's an alien.
Yeah, well, we talked about that right in the film, right? When I think we were texting about that. Yeah.
So on to my number 4. We're going to continue with the sad stuff. Saying Goodbye from Muppets Take Manhattan is, we've said before earlier in the show, a real tearjerker. And it's weird because everybody has close friends like that. And it was fun. There's when I graduated from grade school, me and my buddies were and a few of us still are very close. At the graduation dance, all of the girls were like hugging and crying. It's like, their lives are going to change and everything. I turned to my buddies like, I'll see you on Saturday, right? We're still going out and they, at least 2 of them are still, to this day would make them my oldest friends. But if I ever had to say goodbye forever like that, and that was kind of a weird thing about that. It's like, you can stay in touch if you really try.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the days where it was either telephones or telegrams. There's no, we're all in different places. A few of us in different parts of the city or the suburbs, but Sean is in, a completely different city. Obviously, staying in touch is far easier than it was in 1984 when this song was, written and came out.
And this is a song as they're all splitting up and leaving after the play isn't working. And So they all get a verse.
And at the end, Kermit is at the end of the song, the video of the song. Kermit is walking alone, just depressed that all of his friends are gone. They essentially they didn't say that we don't believe in the play. We will come back as soon as you sell it.
That's right.
But until then, we have to think of ourselves.
Yep.
So we'll see you when we see you.
Sure. Okay, well, that's fitting because I'm in the same film, and I am at the beginning of the film, and my number 4 is Together Again. Together
Again's really good.
Which actually gets a reprise in Muppets Most Wanted, Together Again.
Yeah.
But I obviously like the original, and the fact that this is the, sort of, it's not the I guess it's the follow-up, right? No, Caper is the follow-up, right? Caper's follow-up. But anyways, it's them getting back together. They're going out on they're going out to Manhattan to take their play Manhattan Melodies and get famous, essentially, right? And they're coming together. And I just love that song, that idea of them going and making it somewhere. And then it's just funny you put that against yours, Matt, where it's them all leaving and falling apart. Put those two together and like talk about a solid 1-2. Right. So this one could have went number 5 on my list as well. But like, man, it's a catchy one. Like, and again, I think so much so that they actually, put it back in Muppets Most Wanted. Right. Like it was memorable and talk about callbacks. Right. So,
when it did show up in Muppets Most Wanted, I was like, yes. I was really excited because Muppets Most Wanted. I like that movie.
I know, but they're taking something from another movie.
Right. But that's one of those callbacks or pieces of nostalgia that is completely different because Muppets Most Wanted is a Disney production. The Muppets Take Manhattan is a Sony picture. So for them to agree upon is like, well, we get to use this song, right? It's like, yeah, okay, we'll let it go. I was like, yes, because that's acknowledging their, their past films.
Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 has already been mentioned twice, so I don't really need to talk about it all that much. And that is Moving Right Along. So we can move right along.
I love that song so much.
Yeah, there's no way. Like when I was making the list, I was trying to fit in some other ones that I really liked. I was like, I cannot deny Moving Right Along. I cannot not put that on there because it is such a killer track.
And I know we're going to talk about this again and everything, but for this to be ranked even so, it's so low, if you will, comparatively, says what songs are in that film itself.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking Muppet movie, right? The original.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah.
Scott,
Okay. My number 3. There's so many more. That I say, like, this is the one thing that I don't have the hindsight or benefit because I've seen them all in the last week, so they haven't like really digested. I've only really listened to them once or twice. So I like as soon as you said Together Again, I'm like, that is a really, really good and a way more important song. But my number 3 is We're Doing a Sequel from Muppets Most Wanted. It copies the same medley as Another Day in the Sun from La La Land, which is interesting. But for that being said, it's this big bombastic start to the film, and they're talking about their ideas for the sequel and what they're going to do. The reason why I think it sticks, it's this big show tune number. Everyone gets their own verse and part. They talk about incredible cameos, and the people that talk about it are Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga. They're involved as well too. There's so many more meta jokes that the studio is going to go with them until they wait for Tom Hanks to do Toy Story 4, and it could never be worse than Godfather 3, and it's all built into the song. And that's one. The reason why it makes my list is I think in the last week I listened to it like 3 or 4 times. Obviously, they all have to digest, but it was one I definitely remember being like, oh, this is one that I really do like as well too. And again, there's as it goes, I think it does sample Together Again in that, if I'm not mistaken, towards the end of that song. I think that they reference it. But otherwise, like I said, just a fun song too, and it's a good kickoff starter for the sequel as well too. Talking about we're doing a sequel, and it'll probably come up. I do like that one more than the other meta movie song from Caper. Might be on some of your lists. I just think We're Doing a Sequel is a head and shoulders better song than that one.
That's clever, though. I like the references.
Number 3, Sean.
Number 3. Staying in a little bit of a sappiness, but the gratitude outlook is Bless Us One and All, and again, Christmas Carol.
Robin's song.
taking in
Rubber rules.
It's just a sweet little song. Let us run from anger and catch us when we fall. We're not perfect and we're doing our best, and life is short, and be grateful for what you got. Kind of nice.
Yep. The one time we were arguing about this. We were arguing about this before we started the show, like at length. The one time that I can stand Robin. Yeah, like Robin suits that movie and that song in the Tiny Tim position.
In the Tiny Tim, he's perfect.
He's perfect. He is perfect for Tiny Tim, and he's perfect in that song. And he like makes me emotional. And I'm like, damn you, Robin. Anyway.
Oh, my number 3 is continuing from Muppet Christmas Carol. One More Sleep Till Christmas.
Oh yeah.
A modern classic as far as like I put it on. This is when I watch Muppet Christmas Carol. It's the Christmas Eve tradition to put that on because essentially of that song.
Yeah.
One More Sleep Till Christmas, and it's sung by Kermit as Bob Cratchit, who is a poor man, essentially. He's got a house and a family and enough money to feed that family, but he's not as wealthy as some of the other characters because his employer doesn't pay him enough. But he's thankful that tomorrow's Christmas. He's got the day off.
Mm-hmm. And
everyone should be, Christmas Day is one of those days where it's the one day to be happy, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting in that movie because you wake up the next morning in the movie and it's Christmas and some of the stores are still open and all the people are in the streets instead of being with their own family. They're walking around the neighborhood saying Merry Christmas to each other and stuff. It's really sweet. But and even that very last One More Sleep Till Christmas Day, the shooting star falls and I think says Merry Christmas to him. The shooting star has a line. Just to say it again, it's a Christmas Eve tradition to listen to that song.
I think I rank Robin under the shooting star from Muppet. Okay. Number 3, I talked about this earlier. The more I talk about it, the more I think it maybe should be higher. But Pictures in My Head.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
I was not prepared for this when I saw it in the theater. Like, I'm sitting there. I'm fairly certain I saw this with my wife in the theater, and maybe Andrew, you might have been there. And I'm sitting in the theater watching this, and she's looking over at me, and I'm like welling up. And obviously, because of the history of watching Muppets and seeing them come alive in the frames. Right, the whole movie is a revival, and he's talking about this is when the theater is getting sold off, and he's losing everything essentially, and he's walking through this, thinking about it. These pictures in his head of how times were, and oh my gosh, like the waterworks and the story told. Again, I think Sean said it earlier that this driving the plot just in this song says so much more than him just like talking dialogue or whatever to someone. And every time I watch that, it's kind of like watching the ending of Toy Story 3, if you will. Every time I see something like that, it just brings everything back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like watching it at our age too, when it came out, you had all the nostalgia, but we're also old enough to have, and it's brought up before with, I think by Matt, where you've lost touch with friends. You've had people move out of your life that you miss and don't get to see anymore. You have family that's moved across town, and so you start thinking about that to your life, where you're like, oh, I miss my friends. I don't get to hang out with my friends anymore. I don't get to see these people, and you start thinking about that along those terms, and like it all just comes crashing in on you, where it's like you're at that point in life where you're like, holy cow, like I don't get to see as much much as the people that I love as I want to, and I need to focus in on the important things of bringing my friends in. So yeah,
this for me, like in like a certain playlist would be the middle part of they're saying goodbye, Pictures in My Head because they've been away for a while, and then Together Again.
Yeah.
Right, the trilogy, the trilogy of songs. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. What do you got?
It's me. Again, this has been brought up by the person to my left, and that is Marley and Marley. And when I talked about the songs that were in my head for the entire week of Christmas, Marley and Marley was in there the entire time. And how they incorporate, you said, how they look with the chains and everything. They bring the chains into the songs even, and like it is just a killer track. Like a lot of these songs carries along the plot in an interesting way, and really like hammers it home to Scrooge too, that he thought that these guys were his friends, right? We're like, oh, these are my friends. We're like, no, we hated your guts. We just wanted money. We only cared about money. And like, it's just, man, it's such a great tune. But Marley, number 3.
All right, Scott. Cool.
My number 2 has already been mentioned. Again, another fun song that just brings you back to exciting fun of the Muppets, and that's "Life's a Happy Song."
Amy Adams.
Yeah, Amy Adams is in it.
I love her.
Nothing much else. Yeah.
Everything that Matt hates in one photo.
Nothing much else to add. It's a great song. You get Walter and Jason Segel. They have their brotherly companionship. It's a tap dancey song. There's a big musical number, the city number. There's like this marching. It's almost it reminds me of the Joseph Gordon-Levitt Hall & Oates dance number from 500 Days of Summer, where it's just all kind of like into their head, but it's not. It's just, again, it's just a fun song that shows you that life is great, and the Muppet world is just bright and colorful, and it doesn't make sense, and it's super meta. So like I said, my number 2 was "Life's a Happy Song" from the 2011 Muppets.
Yeah, and that's my number 2.
Cool.
Hey, I love that. I love when that happens.
Before the existential angst of Walter, it is like everything fine, but is it really? I gotta say, so much things that you could watch these on their surface level, but Muppet's got a lot of issues going on to talk about.
Manor Muppet is a therapy session. Honest to God.
Oh my gosh,
Manor Muppet almost made my list. It is a therapy like saga.
There was a handful of this soundtrack that almost made this. It was hard to pick just one of them, because those guys. I'm glad you guys all picked "Life's a Happy Song," but you're right, Manor Muppet. Like, oh my gosh, it's a deep soundtrack, man.
Yep.
What's that one? What's that Miss Piggy one? No, I'm just joking. You know the one.
The Piggy Celine song almost made mine.
Party with my Party
by
of One.
myself.
Me Party.
Me Party. Me Party.
Adams,
really
Miss Piggy.
I love that back and forth. Yeah.
Barf.
Matt?
My number 2 is, I don't want to say it's actually my number 1, but I think we've all agreed what the number 1 greatest Muppet song of all time is. Yes. So my number 2 is "Happiness Hotel."
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good.
I love this song.
Yeah.
It is my favorite Muppet song. Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo have arrived at the Happiness Hotel.
I love that.
It's like, we want to check in. Pops is like, really? Like, yeah. Somebody's checking in. And then the band strikes up, and they have this beautiful welcome song, where almost every Muppet gets a verse. And the ones that don't and are just in the chorus are still your favorite Muppets, and they turn a corner and say, "Welcome home." And it's great. It goes from it starts off with like a country twang, because Pops has that accent and the banjo playing, and then somebody slides down a banister, and you get to meet the Electric Mayhem, and it turns into more of a rock song, and it kind of keeps that tempo for the rest of it. But yeah, all of your favorite Muppets get a verse. Even Rizzo. It's Rizzo the Rat's first appearance in a Muppet movie, and he gets a couple of key phrases in there as well. And it ends with Gonzo. I almost wanted that to be my background, where all the Muppets are together. Gonzo says, "Say cheese." They take the picture, and the wonderful, my number 4, Sam the Eagle, comes in. "You are all weirdo."
You picked Sam the Eagle.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I love them. That's one. That's a song where, because all of the characters are singing it, as I do it in my head and even like singing it in the shower, you try to change your voice to match each character. with every verse that goes on. It's hard to do, but it's so much fun. I love that song.
I got so many questions about the Happiness Hotel itself.
Yes.
Like
yeah, the whole song is about how run down it is.
Yeah,
and you shouldn't stay here.
Yeah, how does this place sustain itself? And why are there so many tenants? I guess because it's free.
It's free.
Like,
well, and where's the health inspector? Like, who's inspecting this place? So, like, you have to, if you're a hotel, you have to have like safety inspections of stuff. Where does that go down? How's that go down?
That's the Yelp reviews.
Your cook is the Swedish chef, I think. So,
sure. Number 2, Mike.
Oh yeah, all right, okay. Well, let's do that, shall we?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Is this one that everyone has hit so far? I don't know. You know what we are moving right along.
Yeah.
There is no way this wasn't making the list. Like, I think before we even discussed the concept of doing the song part of this, when we were just watching the movies, I was just like, this song and another one were written down in my notes as why this movie is so great. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to kind of like what Andrew was saying about how, strong songs in the films, right? It's so damn catchy and toe tappy, right? You know what I mean? And you can't walk away without singing it to yourself. And I actually have a soundtrack. I guess it's like various artists that cover songs and stuff. And this is one of the ones they cover. And I love every rendition I hear of it, including that one, because it's just a good song, right? Yeah. So they do like rock covers of Muppet songs. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who does this one specifically, but it might be Alkaline Trio, maybe. I can't remember though. But anyways, Andrew, number 2.
Was this one on your list, Sean?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I love the sentiment of it. That's all I'll say.
It was like I said, I did my 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was like, what could be my 5? And I was looking through the thing. It's like, which movie has another great song? I was like, Moving Right Along is fantastic. I'll make that my number 5. And I was thinking, it's probably going to be on AB's list, but I didn't think they'd be on 4 of ours. I really didn't.
There we go. That shows you. It's universally loved song. This one is not a universally loved song, I don't think, but it is one of the main reasons why I love this movie, and literally makes me die laughing every time it comes on. Especially, and it's super relevant right now. And I saw it a lot over this whole year or this last year, and that is Cabin Fever from.
I thought of it.
And I love how it starts off. It like gets me every time where they have the 2 like human pirates, and he's like, I've got it. I got it too. And then they just break into the merengue song, like, and they're all wearing like fruit hats.
It's funny you say Cabin Fever
stuff. And like, oh my gosh, like the entire time I am just dying laughing. And then like one of the things I love about it is, so like they go into this whole dance number, and you see them out on the ocean, and they have the lights and stuff going on the
searchlights. I love that shot.
The searchlights on the ship, and then the song ends, and it's just like they're back to like, oh no, we're stuck out here. It just ends. I love it. That song again is like an earworm for me. I just, the entire time I'm singing it, even after the movie's done, I'm like, oh, Cabin Fever.
Just quick Muppet quiz. You got to bring that photo back up.
Okay, hold on.
Now name that Muppet.
I got
no clue, because this is not one of my favorites.
I have 10% on my laptop. I'm not here to name Muppet.
that is Angel Marie.
Okay.
That will be in the quickie.
Angel Dust Marie.
Now I want to interject here. That was your number 2, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
And so we would be going to ones. Yeah. So may I propose, because I have a feeling, I don't know, we didn't really discuss it. We hinted at it. Should we just go around with Scott and then around and all just say it, see if it's the same, and if it is, we just discuss it together?
Yeah. Want to write it down and hold it up?
Oh, we can do that.
All right.
Man.
Whiteboard.
It's all of us. It's all
whiteboards.
Scott's on 9% now, guys. Hurry up.
Let's hurry it up.
How do you spell? No.
I picked the worst marker.
This is great television. Okay.
I wanted to do it in different colors. I mean, wait.
Oh, now come on.
Oh, I just remembered my joke answer, and now it's too late.
The word man one color and Muppet the other color, Andrew? Is that okay? Are we got them written down, or need some help, Andrew? Or
No, okay, I'm good. Ready?
Yep. Number one is yes, it is. Rainbow.
So if I may, before we get to how good the song is, the song's fantastic.
Mike, you can hit your video.
Yeah, I'll put the video up there.
I want to say one thing. Let me have this before. So this is the tidbit that I've been so excited for. The first time I ever heard Rainbow Connection was 2003, and it was an episode of SNL. And I want to talk about what happened in that. So in that episode, my number one, Rainbow Connection, hosted by Justin Timberlake. And I want to talk about this first. This is why something I implore you to watch. So this is a skit that they did on SNL where Justin Timberlake, he said his dream was to always host SNL and to sing Rainbow Connection with Kermit the Frog. So as he's getting closer and closer. And I implore you to find this. Is on Vimeo. And it's Bill Hader doing an incredible Kermit the Frog impression. And as he's getting closer, he's like, hey there, Justin, you're getting kind of close to my buddy down there. And then you see the arm kind of push him away. So in that, Justin and Bill Hader, who's the voice of Kermit the Frog, start a tussle match, as it ultimately resulting in apologies. Bill Hader apologizes to Justin for stepping on him, and Kermit asks Justin to apologize to Bill for being a douchebag. So if you want to hear Kermit the Frog say douchebag, I definitely think that's the skit to see. And then it's them singing Rainbow Connection. So the song itself, fantastic. That skit is hilarious. Let's talk about the song.
Okay. You lead your film with the best part of the film. Like you come into this film with the strongest song of the whole entire franchise in the first.
Well, they do that later too, right? It's the best song and then reprieve.
Yeah. They end it off and it comes back in the rainbow. Yeah. But again, this is covered by how many different people, right? But this is one of those ones that everyone knows the words to, whether you've seen a Muppet movie or not. You know this song. Some people, I'm sure, don't even realize this is from a Muppet movie.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. Some people don't even realize a Muppet sings this song, right? And that's a testament to the writing of the song.
Yeah.
Right? There was no question. As soon as we said this was number one. I don't know if you guys have something to add there to it, but
so I'll tell a funny story. I guess it's not funny, but I went to see a rock show at DTE, and we were in the parking lot, kind of tailgating before the show started, just hanging out in the van. And there was just crowds of people everywhere, just kind of hanging out before the show started, and just kind of hanging out in the parking lot. And so we had the windows down, and we're just kind of relaxing, and we put on Rainbow Connection. And literally an entire parking lot full of adult people were singing along to it, and had this giant moment together. This whole group of strangers were all singing to it. We're all people knew each other, but they were arm in arm singing along. And it just sparked this whole moment before this rock show. And it ended, and we all kind of looked at each other like, oh, that just happened. But to me, like you said, Mike, everyone knows this song. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows the words to the song. It's so universal and so it just sparks so much emotion in just everyone that you could truly connect with what it's talking about. It's a perfect song. It is literally a perfect song.
I went to see Craig Ferguson do stand-up live at the Caesars Windsor, and I was a huge fan of his late night show, and I think it had just ended. He had just left the show, and he was going back to do stand-up on tour. On his show, he would always incorporate, hand puppets with funny accents and stuff. When I went to the show, his stand-up, the show started with his little white rabbit and his alligator puppet singing Rainbow Connection. And I was just like, this is amazing, because all five of us, we love this song. Now, to play just devil's advocate a little bit, and it has nothing to do with the song, mm-hmm. but the best version and recording of it is the one they use in the movie, Jim Henson singing as Kermit. performing Rainbow Connection. And every time it's done afterwards, it just gets a little bit less special for me. Because I just saw on YouTube the other day, the new guy who does Kermit, Matt Vogel, he's as Kermit, staring dead into the camera with like a blank background with the banjo, and he sings Rainbow Connection. And I was almost just like, if I wanted to see that, I'd want to watch the clip that Mike had from the movie.
Yeah, when it comes to Kermit singing it, you want to hear the original version.
Yeah,
I like covers of it by bands and stuff.
Yes.
But you're right. I want Kermit, original Henson Kermit singing.
And it's one of those things where I was just like, the Muppet people, and Disney has a whole stable of stars who can write music for them. I would love for the Muppets to have new songs written for them that, you know, will not ever eclipse Rainbow Connection. But when I saw Kermit's got, it wasn't like Kermit's dropping a new single, but it was that ilk. I was just like, oh, it's Rainbow Connection again. I'll put on the movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah, for sure. I will say Rivers from Weezer and Haley, I think, what's her name, Williams or something, from Paramore, do a cover of it that I really enjoy.
It's very good. It is a very good cover.
Yeah. But look at that, guys. 240. This is
well, the entire recording is 240. I'm just going to suggest and maybe assume we split this into 2 episodes. It wouldn't be that
longer.
hard.
What's longer, this episode or the Muppet Gone with the Wind that's in an adaptation right now? Which actually is not a horrible idea.
I still don't think this is as long as our very first unseen in the vault episode of Meet the Mack Flash 5 that no one has seen yet. I still think that is longer.
Maybe
than
this long.
It's certainly this long, and if we continue to speak, it will be the longest episode we ever.
1, 2,
top 5.
No. I just want to get out here one last thing. I'm so glad I said to these guys, there's a character in a song that I hate with every fiber of my being. The character is Fozzie, and the song is Mananana. What's that bullshit? If I never hear that song ever again, it will be fun.
Yeah, there's no way that was going to make it because
I was so worried somebody was going to put that on.
That's a running skit from the show, and that's why it made it into the movie.
Kill me.
And it's not really anything other than that character's name is actually Manamana, and he comes out and does that, and that's
so unlikable.
But if you're in a tough crowd, you're at a new place, you don't know anybody, you got to go sit at a table. You holler that out, and the table that goes do 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 do. Those are your people. Go sit with.
Yes,
I would be like, oh no, I'm chilling. I'm gonna go see with the rats downstairs.
Being grumpy. All right, I hear you.
He does the opposite.
Fozzie.
So that ends our list of. I'm pretty much going to press that we turn this into 2 episodes, one for the movies and then one for the 2 top 5 lists we've just done. So at the bottom of this video, make sure to write down your top 5 favorite Muppets, top 5 songs from the movies. We really would like to know what your favorite things are. I want to thank Sean Henson for showing up and being our guest today.
Do we want to like put something at the end where we can put it at the beginning of the second episode?
Do what?
Like put it like welcome to part 2.
Yeah. Well, we can edit something in.
We'll get it in post
right now.
We got Henson money here. Sean Henson's here. We'll give this out.
There's like 100 or more, 110 or so covers of Rainbow Connection. So if there's one that you know of that you think everyone else should know of by an artist, put that in there too, because I'm not going to go listen to 110 versions of it right now, but
sure.
I'd love to do a new one.
Sounds good.
That's a great idea. So this would be, I guess, considered the premiere of our 2nd season here on the Mack Flash 5. We're back. We'll be back every other week, I think. Yeah. With more lists of our top 5.
Let's just film right into the next week, and then once we hit stop, we'll just start recording again for the next 2 weeks. We'll just have 2-week-long episodes.
So please like, share, subscribe to the video. Visit the Mack Flash Patreon for exclusive videos and events and trivia quizzes and shows of that nature. Wearitproud.ca for your Mac Flash merch. AB's got it going on. And thanks for watching. For all the lovers, dreamers, and me. We'll see you next time.